The Secret Misses. Chapter 761. Late at night, at Platinum Palace. After Theo sent Luna back to her apartment, he received Jake's call the moment he reached home. You could hear from his voice that he had been drinking a lot. He was even slurring his words and yelling for him to have drinks over at his house. Halfway through, a loud bam sound could be heard. It was silent after that. It seemed like he had fallen down. Theo frowned. He had no choice but to pick up his car keys and drive over to Jake's place. Alas, the moment he reached Jake's door, he saw the man sprawled out in the snow at his front door. If he had not gone over, he would probably have laid there for the entire night. Theo pinched his forehead and carried the guy. Just as Jake was lifted up, that mouth of his which reeked of alcohol leaned close to Theo's body. Willow, Willow. Before Jake could kiss him, Theo quickly said, "Do you want to die?" When he heard the ruthless voice threaten him, Jake instantly regained consciousness. Jesus! Why is it you? Then, he looked unhappy as he mumbled, "It's just a kiss. Do you have to look so undignified? I'm not a woman." Theo loosened his collar and looked impatient as he helped him into the house. Jake flopped onto the sofa like a dead fish, his eyes staring listlessly at the chandelier above him. "Theo, you know, I like Willow." Theo looked at him, not saying anything. This is just nonsense. That year, I retired from the military early for her, afraid that when I was not around, she would be snatched away by you. Sadly, the truth is, even if I never left her side for a second, even if I chased her all the way abroad, she still wouldn't be mine. That year when Willow had gone abroad with her family, he had immediately organized a transfer and had stayed for 3 whole years overseas. He only returned when his family forced him to, and throughout that period, he had frequently visited her overseas, never stopping keeping in contact with her. She had finally returned to the country now, and yet, what he got was thorough despair. Jake rambled on for a long while, then he finally looked to Theo and asked, "Have you ever liked Willow? If there wasn't the little bunny, would you ever get together with her?" Jake's expression revealed his nervousness. "I wouldn't." Theo did not seem to hesitate at all. Jake balled his hand into a fist. "Really? You dare say that you've never liked Willow? The both of you are so compatible in every aspect. Before I met her, I have never liked anyone." As for her feelings towards Willow and his feelings towards Jake, there was no difference at all. "You bastard, you're really cruel." Willow's attention was still on him, so he had treated him as his biggest rival, yet this guy was always an outsider. However, Theo's attitude had sparked a hope within him. Just as Jake was in a trance, Theo took out a black palm-sized leather notebook and threw it to him. Then, he turned around and left. "What's this?" Jake picked up the book and flipped it open to look. In the next second, his eyes had widened and he held that book like he was holding the Bible. Inside was full of Theo's familiarly scrawled handwriting. And the content was filled with pinpoints of the huge mistakes Jake had done all these years in his journey to go after Willow. Damn it, this bastard had never hinted. When did he come up with this? Of course, he didn't think that this dude was just doing it for their brotherhood. He had even defeated the little bunny's romantic rivals himself. This was too savage. Damn it. "You punk, why didn't you give me tips earlier?" Inside the bungalow, Jake could be heard shouting at the top of his lungs. Chapter 762. Today was a Saturday, so there was no school. The little bun had woken up very early and turned his wardrobe upside down to rummage through all his clothes. Just looking at the clothes had taken him more than 2 hours. Cleo, who had came over, leaned on the little bun's door and yawned. "My dear, why are you slower than girls when it comes to changing clothes? Also, what does the post-its on your clothes mean?" For every set of clothes the little bun had rummaged out, he had stuck a post-it with numbers written on them. He was confused and could not understand the little guy's thought process at all. The little bun naturally ignored his second uncle and continued to rummage through his clothes, stick on a post-it, and repeat. After half an hour, the little guy finally picked the set of clothes with the largest number among the pile. As he watched little treasure change into a handsome sapphire blue tuxedo with satisfaction all over his face, Cleo's mouth twitched. He turned to his brother and said, "Bro, they say a woman's heart is inexplicable, but your little treasure's heart is even more inexplicable than Mariana's trench." Theo briefly skimmed the numbers on the clothes, then plainly said, "Those numbers represent the amount of times Luna kissed him when he wore those clothes to meet her." Cleo was speechless. "Very good, this is very like little treasure." He probably would not have thought of this even if he cracked his head. What made him even more speechless was the fact that Theo had actually understood this. Indeed, it was his biological offspring. After the little bun had changed into his clothes, he instantly ran to his father and looked up with sparkling eyes, indicating, "Father, I am all prepared. We can go look for Auntie Luna now." Theo looked down at his son and replied, "I'm bringing you to your grandparents today. Auntie Luna is busy today." The little bun's face immediately stiffened. Horrible news. It was as simple as that. Pfft. Cleo could not help but laugh at the little guy's expression. "Bro, you're too mean to your son. He changed his clothes for 2.5 hours before you cared to tell him that you weren't going to see his beloved Auntie Luna? What difference is this from happily opening up a thick Chinese New Year red packet to find that it was test papers instead?" The little bun indicated that his fragile soul had been traumatized, then he turned around to run inside his room. This was when Theo said again, "Tomorrow is a Sunday. Auntie Luna will come here with your teacher." When he heard this, the little bun, who had on an expression of, "I won't believe this world anymore," instantly regained vigor. With that, Theo managed to lead little treasure out the door with ease. Before leaving, just as the three of them were about to get into the car, Theo suddenly paused and said to the butler behind him, "Uncle Yuan. Big Master, what orders do you have? Please bring little treasure's bear over." Bear. The old butler thought that Theo had some important orders, so he was confused by what he heard. At last, following Theo's orders, the old butler and 2 maids carefully brought the big bear prize from the parent-child event and tied it onto the car. "My God. Bro, what are you trying to do now? Why do you want to carry this darn bear back to the old residence?" Cleo buried his forehead in his hands. He really felt like whenever he was with his brother, his intelligence was challenged. Chapter 763. At the old residence. The both of you, if I didn't call to rush you guys, you would forget to come home, wouldn't you? In the living room, Matthew had been annoyed when he saw his sons, but when his gaze fell onto the little baby holding onto Theo's hand, his expression instantly turned gentle. "Little treasure, you're here." Margaret did not pay any attention to her sons at all. She immediately ran to little treasure. "Little treasure, we haven't seen you for so long. Do you miss grandmother? What about grandfather? Do you miss grandfather?" Matthew immediately asked too. Ever since little treasure had a high fever the last time, they promised to leave little treasure in Theo's hands without intervening. They had not seen the little baby since, and they had long missed him terribly. Little treasure looked at his grandfather, then at his grandmother, and started to write on his writing board, "Miss, Miss. 2 Miss, 1 for grandmother, 1 for grandfather." The little bun was being very fair. When the 2 oldies saw little treasure's writing, their hearts were instantly soothed. It was even more effective than any miraculous medicine. At the dinner table, Matthew and Margaret were eagerly picking dishes for little treasure, and shortly, his bowl was piled up with a mountain of food. Theo had been asked a few questions about little treasure's daily life, while Cleo had become entirely invisible. "Mother, I'm saying, why did you ask me to come home? You've never even looked at me once since I came home," Cleo complained. Margaret was watching little treasure eat obediently, not even looking up to say, "Why would I look at you? What's so nice to look at?" Cleo was speechless. Was this really his mother? Did she just dare say that he was merely a complimentary character? A son without a son is really like duckweed. After they finished eating, Cleo finally had the chance to steal some limelight. Margaret and Matthew let Cleo bring little treasure to play in the garden, leaving Theo to stay back with the oldies. The 2 elders did not look happy at all. They were obviously prepared to instigate him. Margaret said disappointedly, "Theo, if Zoe had not called to tell us yesterday, how long were you going to keep it a secret from us? I already said then that we should not have been so kind to let them take little treasure. Isn't this great now?" Matthew looked at Margaret lamentably. That woman must have used this period of time to get close to his son through little treasure. It was the only way the two of them could have progressed so quickly. Can you blame me? Little treasure was already like that at that point. Just as the two of them were arguing, they suddenly saw little treasure running over. Along with him, he had a huge, furry teddy bear with him. Cleo popped his head from behind the bear and said, "Oh my God, this is so heavy. I'm so tired. This is..." Matthew and Margaret looked at each other, confused. Little Treasure joined the parent-child event in school for the first time and won the first prize. It's very memorable to him. He wanted to bring over to show grandfather and grandmother, answered Theo carefully. The moment he told them that, the two elders who had been upset earlier instantly looked over the moon. "Ah, really? Our little treasure is so awesome. And even brought here especially to show grandfather and grandmother." Cleo had nothing to say. Good, now he finally knew the use of this bear. Father and mother were obviously prepared to instigate him after knowing he was dating Luna. At last, before they could ask anything, they had been thrown a bear. Chapter 764. During the whole time they were apart from the little bun, Margaret had restrained herself from seeing Little Treasure out of guilt while Matthew was waiting with an attitude of, "I don't care, I want to see what you will turn Little Treasure into." At last, they never expected that Little Treasure would turn out much better than they had imagined. They could obviously see that the Little Treasure had regained some chubbiness and his energy had returned. They were most worried about whether he would not fit in or would be bullied by other kids in school for not speaking, as that would cause him to even more withdrawn. However, that turned out to be fine. The both of them were so immersed in the joy of Little Treasure fitting into school life, thus they had forgotten all about the serious business with Theo. After the father and son had left, Margaret could not help but exclaim, "The two of them have already progressed to such a stage. What can we do now? How about I just look for Luna directly?" "That is a weak plan. You know your own son's personality. To mess with that girl is the last resort. The best plan is to get your son to change his own mind. Then, do we just watch and do nothing? Initially, I thought this girl would understand. Who'd have known I still judged her wrongly? If she wasn't really going after anything, why would she still progress with Theo to this stage? What are you panicking about? It's just a dating relationship. How secure do you think such a relationship would be? Maybe after they've gotten together, the honeymoon stage will pass and they will break up by themselves. Besides, Willow is back and your son isn't blind. Would he not know how to choose?" Matthew revealed a rare smile and looked relaxed. "Right, Willow. There's still Willow. Look how silly I am being." Margaret felt instantly calmer and she rejoiced. It's a good thing Willow is back in time. That child, I have watched her grown up. There were so many little girls in the circle, but she was still the more excellent one, compatible with our Theo in every sense. If it wasn't because her family had suddenly moved away 7 years ago, the two of them could have been together by now and I wouldn't have to worry so much. Whatever it is, after all the birth chart and fate evaluations, organizing blind dates cannot compare to those we know through and through. This is the rationale. Besides, they're both not married, so it is still not too late now. We don't have to do anything as long as we just help the two of them create some opportunities. Let's invite the Kingstons for a dinner on Sunday night. As the man's family, we should take more initiative. At the same time, we could ask if their family is interested. Margaret immediately suggested. No need to ask, Kingston already called me much earlier. Based on his tone, he definitely has the same thought as we do. Matthews sounded delighted. Margaret beamed with satisfaction. That's great. Then, I will call Theo now. Margaret swiftly made a call to her son. Hello, Theo. Mother, did something happen? I forgot to tell you today, your Uncle Kingston and his family has returned, did you know? Go make reservations at a suitable restaurant and find a suitable time to invite them to dinner to welcome them home. Margaret tried her best to speak levelly. Okay. Margaret hung up and Matthew quickly asked her nervously, how did it go? Our son said okay. He agreed. Margaret was very excited. Matthew looked smugly at her as if he had predicted this. See? I told you. If this is successful, then it will take a huge load off of my mind. Chapter 765. At the same time, in Spirit Studio. On the sofa, Luna was skimming through the studio's monthly accounts, looking solemn. $300,000 of her capital had been depleted by half and the studio was still not profiting. Angelo felt he was to blame. I'm sorry, boss. I'm not good at marketing. Even though they had won a very prestigious award, the current market seemed to be entirely taken over by history. Plus, history was secretly blocking their orders. Luna was obviously aware of this fact. After all, a fashion studio was not only about designs. They could not miss out on the elements of development, design, production, and sales. Based on our studio's current situation, even though there is a positive correlation between small self-operating boutique models and profit margins, the investment is too huge and the need for human resources was high too, so it was obviously not very suitable for us, pondered Luna. Angelo nodded in agreement. Yes, what is most suitable for us now is still the model of selling on commissions, and the most important prerequisite of this model is that our brand must have enough persuasion power and a good reputation. Or else, who would choose their Spirit Studio brand for commission distribution? Before this, they had taken the key steps to prove their capability. Now, what they needed to do was to exhibit that capability to attract agents. So, now what we need the most is a prominent figure to advertise our brand. Sadly, now I'm not very famous, or else we could save so much on advertising fees. Angelo, do you have a suitable candidate? Luna sighed. For example, how did the clothes in ancient times trend? It was when a certain concubine or even the queen in the palace wore a certain material or style of apparel at a national country's banquet and amazed everyone. It would then start to quickly pick up in popularity among the dignitaries all the way to the commoners. This was called star power. Angelo hesitated to say a name, Alice. Alice. Luna mumbled to herself. She knew who Angelo was talking about. As one of Imperial's most influential socialites, she had multiple roles as a model, a famous blogger, a publisher, and a fashion retailer. She had a column in Country M's most prestigious fashion magazine, FA, and she was a household name in the fashion industry. It would not be wrong to call her the indicator needle of fashion. If they could get her to like their clothing and let her wear Spirit's apparel for the upcoming fashion week, that effect would definitely be better than any celebrity advertising for them. Most importantly, Spirit was a high-end brand, so their starting point definitely had to be cool. If the brand had taken off with smaller celebrities or even gone viral on the internet, it would be hard to raise the ranking of the brand later on. This step was vital. What we can think of would naturally be something others can think of too. There will definitely be many people looking for her this time, and I have tried to contact her previously, even personally going over to her office, but I couldn't even meet her. Angelo said this looking helplessly at his boss. Don't rush. You focus on your designing, I'll come up with something. If we really can't take this route with Alice, then we'll just think of something else. After she left Spirit Studio, Luna started her car and was prepared to make a trip to the company herself. There were indeed many people waiting to meet Alice. Luna waited from evening till late at night, while everyone who waited around had slowly lost patience and left. At last, she was left alone, but she still did not see Alice. Initially, she had refused to not give up and wanted to try her luck, but rationally, not meeting her was within expectations, so Luna was prepared to go home. At the car park, after she got into her car, she was just prepared to start her engine when she had an unexpected harvest. Chapter 766. She was sitting in her car when she spotted a man and a woman arguing not too far away. The woman was very tall. She had short hair with a sharp cut and she wore wide-legged pants with a large coat. She had phoenix eyes, a tall nose, defined facial features, and an extremely good figure. It was the person she had been waiting for, Alice. As for the handsome man donning a gray tuxedo opposite her, it looked a bit like her husband. The two of them were yelling very loudly, so Luna could hear everything clearly from inside her car. Marcel. God damn it, are you crazy? You want to divorce me for a prostitute? Alice glared at the man across her in disbelief. The man looked horrified. Alice, I have told you many times. Elara is not a prostitute, she's a very nice and clean girl, so please stop insulting her. You're saying that I can't even compare to a girl who busks in a bar? Why? I need to know the reason. Give me a reason. Alice, without me, you can continue your comfortable life. But she's not the same. She only has me, she needs me more than you do. Ha. This is too funny, you're telling me that because I'm too strong and can care for myself, so I deserve to be ditched? Inside the car, Luna was tongue-tied. Indeed, in this case, the late bird gets the worm. Who knew that she would unexpectedly learn such a huge piece of gossip? No wonder Alice did not want to meet anyone. She had marriage issues. This could be a very good breakthrough. The two fought for a while before separating unhappily. The man closed the car door and drove off without looking back. Alice, who had still been arrogantly scolding the man, instantly slumped onto the floor after he left. She looked vulnerable and wailed to herself. Long gone was the vigor from before. Luna quietly got down the car and walked to Alice. I'm so sorry, Miss Alice. I have to disturb you for a bit, I'm from Spirit Studio. Get lost. Alice immediately scolded. Obviously, she did not want to be disturbed. Luna skipped the bullshit and immediately said, Miss Alice, if I can help you get your husband to change his mind, could you wear our studio's apparel in the upcoming fashion week? Alice laughed bitterly. Ha! You can make my husband change his mind? If you can, don't talk about clothes. Even if you want me to wear a gunny sack, I would. Miss Alice, I'm serious. As long as you let me know the concrete situation of that woman and the details of how she knows your husband, give me 3 days and I can guarantee that your husband will be crying his way back to you while hitting his mouth to beg for your forgiveness. Alice was in the pits at that moment. She did not want to hear any more crap from this woman who had randomly appeared. However, after scolding her earlier, she changed her mind based on Luna's words. Let Marcel cry his way back to her while hitting his mouth and begging for her forgiveness? This was something she had dreamed of. But, this was impossible, impossible. Luna watched as Alice waver. Then, she ran off to get the pack of beer from her car boot. I have beer, want some? Alice looked at her, then got into the car. For the beer. Or rather, what she needed more than the beer at this moment was someone to talk to. Chapter 767. Alice drank 3 bottles of beer before she finally said, Marcel and I were friends since we were kids. We grew up together and our relationship had almost no setbacks, so naturally, we started dating and then we got married. Our life after marriage had also been very happy all along. When I'm being rash, he would tolerate me. He pampered me even more than my parents. Usually when he had to entertain clients, he would also only just put up a facade and never overstep boundaries. He is very nice, really very nice. I don't even know why is he acting like he is possessed this time, to be charmed silly by a girl who busks in the bar, even willing to divorce me. When I found out about them, I immediately went to the bar to find the woman and slapped her several times. But you know what? He protected that woman right in front of me. That day when he returned, he asked for a divorce. Luna held her head as she listened intently, then her brows raised slightly. Is that girl's background very tragic? Did she say that she works in the bar to earn her pay for her school fees, that sort of thing? Yes, I've investigated, everything she said is true. Maybe, she is indeed a nice girl, could it be that I'm just too evil? Alice asked miserably. Luna scoffed, please, sis, would good girls hook up with other people's husbands? Even if we pretended that she didn't know you existed before this, you have already gone over to cause a ruckus, so would she still not know? You tell me, what was her reaction? She kneeled in front of me to apologize and said that she could not help herself, that she loved him too much. She said that she would die without him. In fact, she had attempted suicide twice and she really almost died the second time. The hospital even released a medical crisis notice. From the gist of the conversation, Luna could roughly guess the overall situation. That girl must come from a tragically wretched background and was probably still a student. Then she said that she came to work at the bar to save money for her school fees and medical fees for her family. It must be that sort of sob story. Alice's husband, on the other hand, was probably an egoistic man with a sense of justice, and perhaps he had some kindness in him. After he had gone to that bar for client entertaining, he continued to get that girl to serve them, then the two of them started to get close. After they got close, that girl must have treated him as her savior and even relied upon him and worshipped him like a god. Even though the plot was old, it was still a classic, most fitting to use against men like Marcel. Besides, the opponent was a savage character who had even given up her life. Okay, understood. This girl seems to even more capable than I thought. 3 days might not be enough. How about a week? I will return an obedient husband with a clear head to you. Alice looked at her, perplexed. I don't know, where's your confidence coming from? I've used all the soft and hard ways but none of them worked. When I did it the hard way, she would attempt suicide. When I used the soft way to advise her, she would immediately kneel and kowtow to beg me without another word. My husband and I, our relationship has reached its tipping point. I really don't dare to do anything anymore. Don't worry, I won't be reckless. I won't do something that will hurt your husband and that woman. Of course, I will not even affect you. However, if I succeed, would you definitely be willing to wear our studio apparel? This was the question she was most concerned about. I've said so, no matter what you let me wear. Okay, then, it's a deal. After Luna left, Alice held Spirit Studios' name card in her hand and felt that she must be going crazy. She had actually simply believed a stranger's words and had even held on to a glimmer of hope. Chapter 768. The next day at Platinum Palace. Luna led Cameron to the house the first thing in the morning. They had just reached the door when they saw that Little Treasure was already waiting for them. When she saw Little Treasure, Luna forgot about Cameron and ran straight to him with open arms. Ah, Little Treasure, my baby. I miss you so much. Quick, give me a super big kiss. Little Treasure's eyes shone like the morning sun as he ran over and gave Luna a kiss on the cheek. Luna naturally returned the kiss happily. On the side, Cameron looked at the delicate little doll in front of him and was stunned. My God! Is this Theo's son? This little guy is actually so cute. This is illogical. No wonder he kidnapped you too. Luna glared at the shocked Cameron. The first rule of being a teacher is no vulgarities. Then, she held Little Treasure's hand and introduced him in a gentle voice. Little Treasure, come here, this uncle will be your teacher. You will learn how to protect yourself, understand? Little Treasure blinked, then nodded earnestly. Also, if you don't like anything about this teacher, or if he's bad at teaching, make sure to tell me too, I will change to someone else for you. Okay. Enough of the crap. If I don't teach well, then no one can teach well. Cameron had initially been indifferent about having a student, but the more he looked at the little glutinous rice ball, the more he felt antsy. He wanted to just snatch Little Treasure and start talking to him. Dear student, let me tell you, the most important thing about fighting is to never let yourself be at a disadvantage. If you really can't fight him, kick his balls, or just kiss them unexpectedly. Hey! Cameron! What are you teaching? Luna kicked him and said, watch me kick your balls till they explode. Once she said that, Luna suddenly took precise, small steps. She walked unusually gentlewoman-like to the devil and cooed, Big boss, you're awake, have you eaten your breakfast? When he saw Luna's 180-degree change in attitude, Cameron almost puked blood. Have you prepared what I told you to? Theo patted the girl's head and then looked at Cameron to ask. Prepared. Boss, please go through them. Cameron quickly delivered a document folder to him. There was actually a detailed class plan inside. Luna's eyes almost popped out of their sockets when she saw that. Cameron actually knew how to prepare things like a class plan. Obviously, the two of them who were usually wild and reckless were completely obedient in front of the devil. Big boss, you and senior brother discuss first. I'm going to go next door to look for Cleo. I'll be back very soon. Theo nodded. When Luna ran over, Cleo was humming and watering his baby cabbages in the garden. When he saw Luna, he immediately stood alert. You, what are you doing? Want to steal my vegetables again? It's not that you can't steal them, but I want to eat them too. Luna felt her mouth twitch. Who's here to steal your vegetables now? Can't I have some official business to talk to you about? Cleo looked at her in alarm. What official business would you have? Luna hopped over and clung to his arm like he was her bro. My dear koi fish king. Hook me up with a girl, please. Cleo was speechless for a moment. What did you say? Chapter 769. Cleo contemplated her in disbelief. What did you say? Help me hook up with a girl. Luna repeated herself. Bro, sister-in-law is interested in a girl. And she even wanted me to hook her up with one. Bro, come quickly, the protective Cleo immediately shouted to the garden next door. Luna's eyes flew wide open. Damn it. Cleo, what are you shouting for? Since when did I ask you to hook me up with girls? You just said so yourself. Cleo got fired up at her sense of righteousness. My God. I'm saying that I want you to help me hook up. Pfft, wait no, I mean that you. Cleo ran as fast as an arrow towards the fence and shouted, Bro, she's hooking up with girls behind your back again. This time, she even asked me to help her. Obviously, I rejected her and I came to report to you right away. Luna was speechless. Why don't you just evaporate? At last, Luna had no choice but to explain the whole situation. She turned to shoot a look at Cleo. How does your freaking brain's thought process go? For you to understand things in such a way? Can you blame me? It was only because you have too many past records that I naturally misunderstood. Cleo mumbled. Marcel? Theo looked thoughtful. Yeah, his family background, looks, and figure are all good. That girl will definitely not let go after hooking up with such a stellar man. A normal person would be of no use to hook up with. I wanted to put on my male disguise to take action myself, but I lack the identity and the reputation. Besides, that woman is very alert, so she definitely would be wary of such a thing. I think only with Cleo's help, the plan will be flawless. Luna analyzed. I'll say, you have a good eye. With me making the move, of course, the plan will be flawless. But why would I sacrifice my body to help you? You're putting me at a disadvantage here. Who's asking you to sacrifice your body? I've written the script for you and I guarantee that she would not touch you at all. Cleo looked suspicious. How could that be? Is that woman so stupid? She would get hooked on without a single benefit? That would depend on whether the bait is tempting enough or not. Luna stroked her chin and looked cunningly at Cleo. Cleo felt like he was being stared at as though he was a fat piece of meat on the chopping board. Then, how do I benefit after succeeding? We're all family. Do you still need incentives? Right, big boss? Luna went over the fence to squeeze Theo's arm. Theo replied, One family. Cleo instantly looked wronged. Hey. You're too shameless. Bro, how can you just watch her sell me off? Io, don't worry, I'll get your brother to close his eyes. Cleo had no words left to say. As she watched Cleo's miserable expression, Luna patted him on the shoulders. Okay, how could I not give you an incentive? As long as you help me get this done beautifully, I will prepare a feast for you. Really? Don't lie to me. Why would I lie to you? Your brother's here as a witness. At last, Theo said with a poker face, 1 dish of pork ribs with glutinous rice. A feast would be too tiring. Hey. Am I only worth 1 serving of pork ribs with glutinous rice? Enough. You help me settle this. When I reach the peak of my life and I marry your brother, become your sister-in-law, I will still cook you anything you want to eat next time. Something's not right here. Chapter 770. That Saturday, while Cameron was teaching Little Treasure Kung Fu, Luna was teaching Cleo how to pick up girls. In the evening, Theo called her to the garden. Big boss, what's up? She observed the way Theo looked. It seemed like he had something to say to her. I have dinner plans tomorrow night. I can't accompany you guys. Oh, no worries, you go ahead with that. Coincidentally, I have to bring Cleo out to execute the plans. It's with the Guan family, Theo reported. When Luna heard this, her eyebrows raised. It seems like your parents have thought of the same thing as I did. She had looked for Cleo to pick up a girl, while they had been looking for a girl to hook up with Theo. Without a doubt, her relationship with Theo had been found out, so they definitely would have any backup plan. To be honest, she herself had never thought that she would progress so far with Theo. There would definitely be many things they have to face in the future, but she never regretted it one bit. Luna, do you trust me? Theo looked at her earnestly. Luna didn't reply. She just tiptoed and kissed him on the lips. On Sunday, at a certain high-end Western restaurant in Imperial, Luna and Cleo had chosen a corner to sit. The one who's playing the piano is Alara. She originally worked at the bar, but her current job was probably scouted by Marcel. Luna pointed at the girl who was playing the piano and outlined the situation to Cleo as they watched her. Alara wore a white dress and had soft, jet black hair that reached her waist. One look at her gave off the vintage yet fresh and gentle aura, the type that could really easily invoke a man's urge to protect her. Cleo watched Luna stare at the girl intently and immediately looked annoyed. He reached out to block her sight. Hey, are you done looking? You already have my brother, but you're still staring at other girls. This is too much. Luna swatted his hand away and continued to look. I'm just observing the enemy here. Cleo looked angry. Who would believe you? Your eyes are about to fall out. All you shallow asshole men. Luna's mouth twitched in amusement. Hey, don't you think there's something wrong with what you just said? Cleo then blinked. It did seem like something was not right. Luna held her chin and looked at him thoughtfully. Cleo, let's get serious now. Forget the rest of it. Just based on her appearance, this girl does seem like she would attract men. Don't you feel anything at all? Cleo scoffed condescendingly. No. That's not the type that I like. Luna instantly raised her brows. Oh, you have a certain type? Based on what I know, you have only started to be single recently. You dated numerous hot girls, thin and fat, without any particular type. Cleo's expression had darkened now. Of course, I have a type. Don't make it sound as if I don't pick and choose at all. I'm very picky, I'm telling you. I really like those open-minded, extraordinary, flawlessly beautiful, light as a bird, elegantly unpredictable, few in words yet fragrant in aura, graceful as a swan, and pretty much supernatural girls. Ha. Luna rolled her eyes and waved. You should just stay single forever. This guy's selection criteria for a partner was too much. Chapter 771. What's wrong with me? My standards aren't high at all right? When I asked you the kind of person you liked back then, you even said whoever he is should be walking on rainbows. Cleo scoffed, then suddenly thought of something and stared at her. Right, I suddenly thought of something. Why didn't you get my brother to come hook up for you? He would be an even more convenient option, so you wouldn't need 7 days. Just a wink would be enough. You only know how to order me around. Luna looked at him like he was an idiot and said, Duh. Your brother is taken and I forbid it. If you torture me anymore, I won't do this. Luna quickly pat Cleo's head and said, Oh, I won't torture you anymore, be good. Have you read the script I wrote for you? Cleo was annoyed when she brought it up. What kind of script was that? It's not even creative at all. Didn't you say it was hard to pick up this girl? Can it really work? It's hard for other people. Don't you worry. She's just a girl, and even a mother of several children would fall for you. Go, Pikachu. Luna chirped as she slapped Cleo on the shoulder and finally pushed the rambling guy off to get the job done. On the stage, Elara was playing the piano. Luna had given Cleo a single reserved and low-key stalk of white rose to represent purity and innocence as he walked towards Elara on stage. There was a Bluetooth hands-free piece in Cleo's ear through which Luna issued him instructions from afar. Go, I'm not asking for your charming eyes or whatnot. Just put the rose on the piano and your mission for the day will be complete. Luna was afraid that Cleo would go overboard with the acting, so she fixed her eyes on him nervously. Thankfully, Cleo's performance was not bad. When Elara had finished playing one song, he laid that rose on her piano like a gentleman and even used those charming eyes of his to affectionately grace her with a look before turning around to leave. Luna observed Elara's expressions, amazed, shocked, subtle disbelief and ecstatic joy, all while she pretended to be calm and indifferent. It was basically all playing out within her expectations. Okay, done. Work's over. I'll treat you to barbecue. At the same time, Luna stood up and left the restaurant to catch up with Cleo. Cleo muttered unhappily, I still think it's too simple. You did so much to mobilize a top-class god like me to help you smack a mosquito? Luna scolded him impatiently, are you trying to get beaten up? Isn't it good if it's easy? You want me to order you around like cows and horses? You're still my future brother-in-law. I wouldn't throw you into the pit, so how could I torture you? Even though these words are kind, but why do I feel like I'm being tortured again? After they left the Western restaurant, the two of them found a roadside stall to sit down at and ordered some fried chicken and beer. Do I really not need to be more flirtatious? Otherwise, how would she know who I am? Cleo was still muttering worriedly. What do you know? It's too lowly of you to announce your identity. Your entire magnanimity was put out right there. She will definitely go around to ask by herself. Tomorrow or the day after, just continue to come at this hour, and every time you do, you just have to give her one white rose. On the fourth day, the time would be about right, so give her 99 roses, then reserve the entire restaurant and treat her to a meal. Obviously, the money for flowers and booking the restaurant will all be borne by me. Chapter 772. Cleo pouted. You're really going all in. Have you never thought of what to do if you fail? Luna shrugged and said nonchalantly, what can I do then? I'll just beat you up to release my anger. Hey! You just said that I was your beloved brother-in-law and wouldn't torture me. The two of them continued to chat for a while when Cleo suddenly got startled again as he counted on his fingers. Dead. Dead, dead, dead. Why were you dead? Luna watched him in confusion. Today is the 7th day of you dating my brother. The 7th day, isn't it? Cleo looked like the apocalypse was dawning on them. Yeah, what's up with that? Luna was still confused. Cleo put down the drumstick in his hand and said, Luna, I don't want your feast, or your glutinous rice with pork ribs anymore. Can you not break up with my brother? My brother really likes you. Luna was dumbfounded by this. What? You've only drank a few sips of beer. Are you drunk already? Since when did I say I want to break up with your brother? Cleo looked like he wanted to cry. But, it's already the 7th day. All the guys you've dated before this have never lasted beyond the 7th day, have they? Luna was speechless. No wonder Theo had suddenly celebrated that random 5th day thing. No wonder she always felt like something was odd about Theo. This dude wouldn't be taking this thought to heart, would he? She was thoroughly at a loss for words. A certain 6-star hotel in Imperial. Aya, Thomas, my brother, long time no see." Matthew passionately went up to shake the man's hand. Thomas was also all smiles and he laughed. "Matthew, we haven't seen each other for so many years. You haven't changed much, still as young as ever. One look and I know you haven't been worrying." "Nah, both of our sons are worth worrying about. They are not as considerate as your daughter," Margaret said as she playfully nudged Willow's arm and looked delighted. "Your girl, Willow, is becoming prettier." After the two families greeted, they sat down at the dinner table. "Didn't Willow return this time?" "No, after sending us home, he immediately rushed back. He can't leave the company over there. It's a good thing Willow is accompanying you both." "Yeah. This girl, she's amazing. I heard she just got an MBA. Such a young girl, yet she's already so advanced. Not easy at all." Margaret could not stop singing praises. While the parents were chatting, Willow and Theo's were happily catching up too. "Theo, do you remember Kevin? Our high school friend who was the student council president?" Willow casually started a topic. Despite being distant for 7 whole years, they shared countless memories together. Those were things that could not be erased. Before this, Kevin invested in tech stocks. At last, he lost everything," said Willow with a sigh. "Even though it's the technology generation, the depth of defense of many tech companies is limited, so it would be too hard to determine the final victor early. It's very hard to value their shares logically. There are indeed risks. Additionally, there are 2 more types: the companies which need too much funds but have little potential for profit, and companies that are too young. Usually, I wouldn't dare to get involved. There are also exceptions." Chapter 773. Of course, take IM and CN for instance. Even though they both have the same deep form of defense, they have sufficient cash flow and a history of long-term profit. That year, you used $300,000 to buy 7% of IM stock at $3.56 per unit. 3 years later, M changed their business strategy and started to withdraw their funds and invest in the production of smartphones. Now, the stock unit price has risen to $32.80, increasing by tenfold. You're still amazing, daring to play in any field. Just my luck. You can be humble with others but you don't have to pretend with me." Both families' parents watched their children interact in delight. "Look how chatty the kids are. Sigh, you don't know that usually at home, we would talk until our mouths fell out and he would still reply us a grunt. It's very hard to get him to talk. Don't mention it, my daughter's the same. I remember that these two have always been very compatible since they were children." Thomas initially had something to say about the fact that Theo had a son and was currently dating someone. However, once he thought of Matthew's promise and saw that the huge Liu family's business had grown quite a bit in the past 7 years after Theo had taken over, he suddenly felt like those were just petty matters. Most importantly, this potential marriage could bring the Kingston family unmeasurable profits. In reality, Matthew was still not satisfied with Willow as a candidate to be his future daughter-in-law. The one he was most satisfied with would still be Tiffany from the Sterling family. Now, that girl would really hit the spot. Willow had grown up in a family of business. She was too smart and snobbish. Sadly, recently the Sterling family had suddenly turned cold towards them, making Matthew feel somewhat regretful. After all, the Sterling family was a family of public officials. Generations of Sterling had been married to families of similar backgrounds, much less with families of business. Such a tradition could not be forced. At last, the dinner was considered a happy occasion for both hosts and guests. Matthew could finally relax and wait for Theo to change his mind, yet they did not know that their own son was like an unbreakable reed, an unmovable rock. At Regal Riviera Hotel. After she returned to the apartment, Luna showered and was prepared to sleep when the doorbell rang. When she saw Theo outside her door, Luna was slightly surprised. "Theo, it's already so late. Why are you here? Come in." After he entered, Luna was about to get him a pair of slippers when he pulled her into an embrace. "What's wrong?" "Sorry, because of some reasons, I can't change their attitude in a short amount of time. But it doesn't matter if we're dating or getting married, it is still between us. You don't have to worry or please anyone else. No matter what happens, don't settle things alone without telling me. Just leave it to me. Do you understand what I'm saying? I understand. Luna nodded. Initially, he was worried she would mind, so he had rushed over that late at night to soothe her. Actually, if you want to resolve the other side, it's very easy to, Theo said. You have a plan? Luna immediately asked suspiciously. Since he had a plan, why didn't he say so earlier? Theo nodded. There's a most effective way to do this. In fact, it is very easy. We just haven't achieved it yet. Really? What is it? Luna was increasingly curious. Make a human. Luna scratched her head, unsure of what he was implying. Make what? Theo looked towards her stomach meaningfully. When she noticed Theo's line of sight, Luna's face instantly reddened. Hey! Theo, why are you starting to be corrupt again? How am I corrupt? Wasn't this a very sacred thing? The process of making this human is corrupt. Chapter 774. Theo looked helplessly into her eyes as he touched her little corrupted head. I'm leaving. Luna was dumbfounded. You're leaving just like that? Had he especially rushed over just to say these few sentences? Luna's eyebrow raised in question. Really leaving? You sure? Aren't you afraid that when you wake up tomorrow morning, I'll break up with you? It's the 7th day. 1 week already. Break up doomsday. When he heard this, Theo's back instantly stiffened. Upon seeing Theo's reaction, Luna held her forehead and did not know what to say. Sigh, what should I say? Big boss, you have such a high IQ, why do you believe Cleo's nonsense? I already said, you're special. Theo paused mid-step. Which part of me is special? All of you is special. Luna said. Theo fixed his eyes on her and suddenly asked, even more special than the person you liked before? Huh? Luna was stunned. Aren't you the person that I have always liked? Just as she was about to blurt that out, she suddenly realized that the person Theo was referring to was that dude. When she thought about this, Luna suddenly shuddered and had goosebumps. It's already so late at night. Can we not mention that guy? This creepy panic bubbling up. She had finally gotten rid of living under his shadow. Theo's eyes dimmed and the arm he hugged her with tightened a little. Okay. The person I like right now, right this moment is you. You're not allowed to think nonsensical stuff. Stay tonight, so that when you wake up first thing tomorrow morning, we can celebrate our 8th day. Luna suggested happily. Okay. As they lay in bed at night, Luna could not fall asleep. She got up and leaned on her elbow to look at him. Theo, The World will be released in a few more days in Imperial. Will you go watch it? I won't. Luna immediately straightened up a little. Why? Theo looked at her, then covered her with the blanket and did not say anything. Luna looked disappointed as she spoke sadly to her fingers. This is my first acting stint in a movie. In fact, it's the first one after I was picked by you to come over, the boss himself, so it's very meaningful. I still want to show you how awesome my performance was. Why don't you want to watch it? She felt like a child who had scored 100 points but her dad was unwilling to look at her test paper. Because I might not hold myself back from getting it all off the screens, Theo said, shooting her a side look. Huh? In the next second, Luna suddenly understood. Could it be because she was acting as a couple with Adam in the movie? But hadn't all the bed scenes and kissing scenes already been edited out and succinctly implied instead? The only one that made the cut was the first kiss, and that had been done with a mask in between them. Even that couldn't do. Get it all off screens, how scary. Big boss. Please don't watch it. Luna changed her mind. They had been together for quite a while, so Luna did understand his feelings a little. Theo was not as harmless as he looked. On the contrary, he was someone fearfully possessive. The fact that today he didn't break her legs and chain her to the bed, letting her run around outside instead, and that he simply wouldn't watch her movie knowing he would get jealous, it was already the epitome of true love. Chapter 775. The morning sun trickled in through the window. While the girl's skin looked delicate under the sun rays, you could barely see her soft and cute fine hair on her arms and face. Theo leaned on the bed while his fingers grazed her cheeks lightly. Before this, his heart had been tensed up, but now, he could finally relax. Since they returned from DC a week ago till now, he could finally confirm that this girl in front of him was really officially with him. Luna woke up with the rest of the world, and the moment she opened her eyes, she was met with a godlike handsome face, a delicious-looking one. She was immediately in a good mood as she rubbed her cheeks against his fingers, then she hugged him like a koala and said in a dazed, sleepy voice, "Big boss, you're awake. Good morning." Morning. The blanket was so warm and comfortable that Luna subconsciously fell asleep again. Moments later, she suddenly opened her eyes. "Say, you left little treasure alone at home again. Is that okay? Wouldn't little treasure be angry?" "No, I'm on official business." "Official business? I still need this half-mother to work hard." Gosh, did he usually lie to little treasure like this? These few days, apart from promoting The World with the crew, Luna had been busy with the studio, preparing for the upcoming spring-summer fashion week. After all, whether their reputation and market could expand would rely on this. Finally, after Cleo had been giving white roses to Alara for 3 days, the plan to attack Alara had reached the most crucial 4th day. Night fell. Alara went to work at the restaurant as usual, feeling emotional and uncertain. After she glanced at the man who had presented her with the rose on the first day, she was almost in disbelief. Apart from those low-key important figures in Imperial who never appeared in newspaper and magazines, she knew all the other ones like the back of her hand. Furthermore, it was the second master from the Goldberg family who had always been very prolific. She really could not believe that such a person would want to be involved with her, so she was not assured and had secretly asked around. At last, she confirmed that this man was really the second master of the Goldberg Corporation, Cleo. Before this, a famous tabloid magazine had organized a leaderboard of the top man all women in Imperial wanted to have a one-night stand with, and Cleo was rated number one, so you could see that this man was quite the charmer. Of course, at the same time, this meant that such a man could be messed around with, but if you were serious, then you would lose out. In a certain hidden corner of the restaurant, Luna flipped a tabloid magazine as she spoke through the Bluetooth earpiece to Cleo. "Cleo, I can't believe you're voted as number one on the leaderboard for the man that girls want to have a one-night stand with. All these girls just want to hook up with you and not marry you. You really deserve to be single forever." "Huh. So what if they want to hook up with me? What's wrong with that?" "They want to hook up with me because I have the skills," Cleo said with pride. Yes, your skills. So, today you must perform better and not use your usual hookup ways. Don't let Alara feel like you're just messing around. You must make her feel like you're really serious about her, that she's special, understand? I know, you've already said it 800 times, right? Isn't my brother on that leaderboard?" Cleo asked curiously. Chapter 776. Luna looked surprised he should ask such a thing. "Of course, he's on it. Your brother is number one on the leaderboard for the man girls want to marry the most. Is this even a question? Oh. This makes me so angry. Ha 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 ha. Don't be angry now, Adam is voted as the number one guy girls want to have as booty call. Doesn't that console you a little?" "Console, my ass. At least, a booty call gets more than a one-night stand." Okay. Alara is here, get ready, official business comes first." The restaurant door was pushed open. After Alara entered, she was at a loss. The entire restaurant was dimly lit, and there was no one inside. What was happening? Could the restaurant be closed today but no one informed her? If it wasn't open, then, she would not be able to see that guy today. She had tried very hard to tell herself to calm down, that even if he really took a liking to her, a man like Cleo was probably only just doing this on a whim. However, deep in her heart was filled with silly temptation and a wild longing. She had still been touched by his actions. Even though she was from a poor family, she was born with a naturally good figure and pretty looks. Just with these, she had many men chasing after her. Of course, she would not be interested in just any common man. At last, she finally found a good opportunity and had caught Marcel as a big fish, one that could help her get rid of her past and enter his world. Besides, it was not only his family background she was keen on. He was also handsome and treated her like a princess, fulfilling all of her wishes. So, she was determined that even if she had to die, she had to hold on to this opportunity. As for his wife, wait till she officially got married to him, then who would remember how she got together with him? However, after the white roses appeared, the greed and lust that Alara had suppressed deep in her heart had been awakened. A human's heart was filled with the most insatiable greed. Marcel was very nice, but she suddenly realized that there was someone better than him. She actually was worth more with her natural beauty. Once Pandora's box had been opened, she could not close it. This thought could not be taken back, and it had become even more hungry with the second and third white roses. Thus, even if she knew the danger behind it, her greed could not help but grow. The restaurant's unanticipated closure made Alara frown. She had fallen to the bottom of the pit at the peak of her anticipation, and anyone could. She was very disappointed. She was about to call the supervisor to ask, but just as she took out her phone, the dark restaurant had suddenly lit up and the super luxurious chandelier that was usually reserved for special occasions had been lit too. In the next second, she saw that under that bedazzling chandelier was a man. He wore a black tuxedo with a dark red tie, and from his left chest pocket hung a vintage pocket watch. On the inside, he wore a brown English vest and white shirt. With a big bouquet of white roses in his hands, he looked like a character who had walked right out of a painting. Predictably, Alara was entirely stunned, unable to believe her eyes. The piano she had played every day was already being played someone else, and there was even a professional orchestra beside it, playing a romantic, soothing tune. On the only table that had been lit by a candle, were fresh flowers and exquisite dishes. Chapter 777. She had just been feeling disappointed and down in the doldrums about not seeing this man today when he unexpectedly appeared in such a manner before her. The ecstasy she was feeling was about to make her heart explode. Just like that, her heart beat faster and faster as she watched him walk towards her. Then, he handed her the bouquet of 99 white roses. Alara watched him, stunned, before finally calming herself and revealing a surprised yet confused and doubtful expression. "Mister, thank you for your flowers the past few days, but I still don't know who you are." "Nice to meet you, my surname is Lou. I'm very sorry that I acted so randomly, but after struggling in a dilemma for a long while, I still could not control myself from being impulsive. Who I am is not important. I really like the way you play, so maybe you can treat me as your fan. I wonder if I would have this honor to have you join me for dinner." Alara restrained her glee and hesitated for a few seconds before she hurled out her hand to accept the bouquet, pretending to be coy about his intentions towards her. "Mister, you're far too kind. I'm no professional. Playing the piano here is just a means of survival." Cleo swiftly pulled a chair out for her while he fixed his gaze on her. "No, I'm not talking about the piano that's taken my heart, but the pianist herself." Alara's heart skipped a beat. In the corner, Luna had been watching the scene play out with great satisfaction up to this point. However, she waited for so long and still did not hear Cleo's next dialogue. Then, she saw this guy touch his hair. This hint meant that he had forgotten the words to say. Luna then cued him, "I have never seen a girl like you before." Cleo heard Luna's reminder and continued, "I have never seen a girl like you before. The first time I saw you, I could not tear my eyes away." Luna quickly cautioned him, "Cleo, watch your body expressions. Don't act so calmly. Act like you're more nervous." Do you know what's the feeling of falling in love with someone for the first time? Act like she's your first love, okay? Cleo's face turned slightly gloomy. First love, my ass. Even though he had dated many times, he still didn't even know how first love felt. He was usually the one loved by others. If you really don't know, then just stutter for me, tighten your fingers, or accidentally push something over. It's the little details. Luna could only teach him step by step. It was a good thing that Cleo was pretty good at understanding her tips. He immediately gripped the cup tightly, then drank a huge swig of wine. He looked nervous and started to say with a slight stutter, I have met many girls before, but none of them have ever been like you. It really is very weird. I can't begin to describe what this feeling is. I think, would I be able to understand if I moved closer to you? I don't know what I'm saying either. Do you understand what I mean? When she saw Cleo, who had always been someone superior to others, act unexpectedly like a young, green lad discovering love for the first time, Alara's initial nervousness suddenly calmed down. She felt the satisfaction of having everything within her control. In fact, her conceitedness and confidence had been boosted. She laughed lightly and said ambiguously, we are probably destined to meet then. The conversation progressed considerably smoothly and the entire dinner was filled with a flirtatious vibe, basically achieving the effect Luna had wanted. Then, it was time to find the next key timing. Chapter 778. Usually after Alara finished work, Marcel would come to pick her up. Thus, when Cleo suggested sending her home, Alara naturally rejected immediately, indicating that she had made plans with a girlfriend and wanted to wait for her to come over. So, Cleo left first. When in reality, Cleo did not leave at all. He waited in a dark corner instead. Very quickly, a Porsche drove over to the car park. Marcel got down from the car and walked over to pick Alara up as usual. He even kissed her lips affectionately before asking, was work tiring? Cleo. Time for you to take action. This performance is all about the eyes. You must pretend to be very shocked and so heartbroken that you cannot believe you have lost the love of your life. Be extra dramatic. Understand? Luna reminded repeatedly. Cleo pursed his mouth and rolled his eyes at her. Why don't you switch careers to be a director? Because I'm afraid that there will be too many actors like you, then I would die of anger. Hey. My performance is clearly good, okay? Okay, it's very good for a first-timer. Go, quickly. They're about to finish kissing. Luna agitatedly pushed him out. He really was not that good at acting. He had obviously dated many times before, but he was like someone who had no dating experience and had no heartfelt emotions at all. People could obviously tell from one look that he was the kind to mess around with girls only. No wonder all the girls only wanted to have one-night stands with him. Cleo followed exactly as per the prepared script and dropped the car keys in his hand, then looked at the scene before him in disbelief. A pained expression crossed his face. He looked like he had just found his true love, but realized that his true love had already found the love of her life. When she saw Cleo, Alara's expression paled. She obviously did not expect Cleo to leave and then return again. Hey. I'm letting you be dramatic, but not that dramatic. Your eyes are too wide and your performance is not convincing enough. Don't continue to stand there, you will be exposed. Quickly turn around and leave. Luna urged. Finally, it ended. In the car, Cleo slumped onto the car seat like a dead dog. Acting is so hard, I feel like my body has been hollowed out. Of course, this is a skilled job. What else do I have to do tomorrow? The foundations have been laid enough, so you don't have to do anything tomorrow. Just keep her hanging. The day after tomorrow, we will finish the final scene and then we'll be done. Thank you, Director Brown. Good boy, I'll give you an additional drumstick for the boxed rice later. At night, when Luna had just returned to the apartment and parked her car, she unexpectedly saw two familiar people outside. Those two people being intimate under the lamp-post, looked like Emma and Su Yen. Emma already seldom stayed at this apartment. After history became popular, she had immediately bought a bungalow and rarely came back. Who'd have known she would meet them today? Su Yen, my father said that after this fashion press conference, he will use the opportunity to suggest to my grandfather to let me enter the company. The last time father mentioned it, grandfather was already unhappy about it. This time, he said he is worried if grandfather would be even angrier since, after all, he seems to still be waiting for my sister. Emma asked, distressed. How can that be? When grandfather sees how excellent you've been, he will definitely change his mind. Emma sighed, actually, I don't really want to go. After all, with my identity, I'm in an awkward position. But I can't bear to reject my father. I have already rejected many times before this and I'm afraid that father will be disappointed. Besides, I do sincerely wanted to share the burden with my father and grandfather, but... Chapter 779. Then, go. After all, you're entering based on your own capabilities, aren't you? No one will say anything. But, on sister's end, would she feel like I'm taking what belongs to her away? I really don't want to fight with her for anything or else, I wouldn't have started my own company. You, my dear, think too much. All of these things you have are well deserved. How can you say you've snatched it away from her? I've already gotten someone to send that dress for you to Alice, so there shouldn't be any problem. Liam, you don't actually have to do so much for me. Nonsense, you're my future wife. If I don't help you, who else would I help? In the blink of an eye, it was the last day of the agreement with Alice. It was night time already and Luna was still at her wit's end. At last, Cleo impatiently huffed, hello, there isn't much time left. You won't let me work for nothing, will you? I've already gotten someone to ask around. Elara and Marcel have still been lovey-dovey these past few days. She has no intentions of breaking up at all. She obviously wouldn't break up with Marcel. Do you think she would stupidly ruin her plans before she can be sure that she can get you? Then, what do we do? Luna looked at the time on her handphone and waited for another half an hour, then she slowly changed her outfit and put on her makeup. Lastly, she looked at the radiant Cleo and slapped her hand on her forehead. Didn't I tell you not to shave for a few days? That would affect my attractiveness. Cleo replied seriously. Luna speechlessly dragged him over and to put on some makeup for him as disguise. 10 minutes later, Cleo's energetic face earlier was now replaced with a thin and pallid look. Cleo looked at Luna, then turned to his reflection and was shocked. Wow! Luna, your makeup skills are really comparable to a proper disguise. My brother is so lucky. How does this relate to your brother? Every time you change your makeup, you become another person. It's like changing a new girlfriend every day. How exciting and refreshing is that? Luna was speechless. This guy's focus was indeed extraordinary. When Luna and Cleo reached the restaurant, they only had half an hour left until Elara got off work. Luna had already reserved a good spot in advance, neither too far nor too close to the piano, yet just close enough to eavesdrop on their conversation. Cleo asked Luna, who had dressed up to the nines while clinging on to his arm, why is this different from the previous script? Are you a cameo? Luna rolled her eyes at him. Because your acting skills are too horrible, I just have to take action myself and increase our impact to prevent any mistakes. When Elara saw Cleo as she was playing the piano, she first looked overjoyed, then her expression changed when she saw the woman beside Cleo. Luna led Cleo to the reserved seat and both of them ordered some food before starting to chat idly. She kept coming up with topics to chat with Cleo about. However, Cleo's gaze continued to fall absent-mindedly on Elara. When Elara could feel that Cleo's heart was actually still with her, she was instantly filled with emotion. She glanced over to lock eyes with him, very much enamored. Luna looked at Cleo, then at Elara, before she stood up swiftly and splashed half a glass of water on Cleo. She then stormed off angrily. Cleo revealed a distressed expression, then he left the restaurant too. Chapter 780. Finally, because of her deductions about Cleo's sincerity towards her firming up and the threat of Luna's appearance, Elara's psychological defense completely shattered. She immediately stopped playing the piano and ran out quickly to chase after him. By the roadside, Cleo was just about to get into the car. Behind him, Alara called to him to stop while panting, "Mr. Goldberg, can we talk?" In the corner, Luna smiled. She could finally reap the harvest. Cleo and Alara spoke in an extra huge private room in the restaurant, and within that room was a separate section. Luna had invited Marcel over much earlier, and at that moment, he was waiting in that separate section. She had used the identity of Alara's best friend to invite him over, saying that she had something important to tell him, so Marcel rushed over immediately. After waiting for a while, there were suddenly sounds of footsteps outside, then a familiar voice spoke. It was unexpectedly Alara's. Marcel was about to walk out to greet her when he heard another man's voice. Instinctively, he paused and observed while holding his breath. "Ms. Alara, how may I help you?" Cleo asked courteously, standing at a distance. Alara was afraid that Cleo would disappear again, so she impatiently said, "Mr. Goldberg, you've misunderstood. The man you saw at the car park the other day has nothing to do with me. At that time, he forced me." "Who was he?" Cleo asked intentionally. Alara explained even more anxiously, "He was a customer I met at my previous workplace. He's a very nice person and has helped me a lot, so I feel very thankful for him, but that is all. I know that he might have other intentions towards me, but I have only felt nothing but gratitude towards him. I have also been rejecting his pursuits. He already has a wife, so there is no way I would wreck his family." "You don't like him?" "How could I like him?" Alara continued worriedly and then added shyly, "Mr. Goldberg, I actually like you. I have liked you from the moment I first saw you, but you were too far away. I never thought that you would actually be interested in me." "Is that customer of yours called Marcel?" Cleo asked. Unexpectedly, Cleo had already found out who the other person was. Alara's expression stiffened. Thankfully, she maintained her composure and said with a pained expression, "Yes, so you know as well. He has power and reputation. I can't defend myself at all, I can only hide." In the next second, the door of the separate section was pushed open and Marcel stormed out furiously. He slapped Alara without hesitating. "Bitch!" When she saw Marcel, Alara froze. Marcel, how are you here? If I wasn't here, how would I know that you were such a cheap bitch? You always say that I'm your everything, that you would die for me." When she heard this, Alara's first reaction was to look nervously at Cleo. "Mr. Goldberg, I can explain." Marcel looked angrily at Cleo and then was bewildered. Wasn't this the second master of Goldberg Corporation? How did Alara get involved with someone like this? Could there have been a misunderstanding? Cleo just looked innocently at him and shrugged. "I always come to this restaurant for dinner and I admire Ms. Alara's piano skills, so we chatted for a bit. But Ms. Alara seems to have misunderstood me." Alara instantly stared in disbelief. "What? But didn't you give me flowers, and you even treated me to dinner?" Cleo responded, "And then?" Then. Alara was at a loss for words. Cleo had never said anything or done anything out of line. In fact, his personality had always been to fool around. There were numerous women he had given flowers to. All of this, could it all just be her wishful thinking?